I'm David Gross. I'm an IP trial lawyer. That's what I do for a living. I help companies who are involved in technology and who have some case that involves technology bring their case all the way to trial in a courtroom. That's what I do. And today I'm going to talk to you about what should you do if you, sitting in this audience, want to be an IP trial lawyer. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about what you should be doing if you simply want to have a successful career that involves technology. Here is the secret. If you want to be a successful IP trial lawyer, you need to get to know people. That's the lesson. I'm sure some of you have heard about networking. Getting to know people, planting seeds, connecting on social media, having Facebook pages, having LinkedIn, doing all the things that you guys are doing that I don't even know exist right now. All the things that connect you, right? That's not what I'm talking about. When I say you need to get to know people, I don't mean you need to network. Go ahead and network if you want to, but that's not what I'm talking about. If you want to have a successful career as an IP trial lawyer, or a successful career in the technology industry generally, you need to get to know people. You need to understand people. You need to be able to connect with ordinary, everyday people. Because the people in the tech world and the people who are trial lawyers in the tech world, those people separate themselves when they can connect with everyday, ordinary people. And I'm going to tell you why, in my line of work, it's critical that I know how to connect with everyday, normal people. I'm talking today about what I'll call the human element. And I just mean people. What do we mean by people? What's the role that people play in IP trials in America? How does it work? Some of you may know, but many of you may not know. But let's talk about how it works. In America, here's how it works. When you have a company that has critical technology where your entire future of your company may depend on this technology, and you get intellectual property to protect that technology, and you're going all the way to trial, and here we are. It's one of those close cases. It's made it to trial. And now you're going to have a big fight with another company. In America, do you know who decides this case? A group of people who have no understanding at all of your technology, who have no background, even generally, in your technology, and who have no education generally that relate to your technology. That small group of people, they decide your technology case. They decide the fate of your technology, whether you win or lose. That is the American jury system. And one thing I want to tell you, our system, because we allow a group of people who have no background in technology and often no understanding in technology, because we allow this group of people to decide technology cases, that makes America the best legal system in the world. It's because we do something that's so crazy, bring in a group of people who don't understand the technology and have them decide who wins or loses, that makes our country special. Do you know how many other countries in the world do something like this? Zero. It's just not done. I have had the privilege to practice law and work for clients who have connections all over the world. And I've had a chance to be to Asia, go to Australia, go to Europe. It's been really wonderful. When I go to Europe and I talk to European companies who are based in Germany or Denmark or Italy or France or the United Kingdom, and I tell them how we do things in the United States, they just don't understand why we would ever set it up that way. When you go to Germany, do you know how you decide a technology case? You show up in a German courtroom, and you've got technical judges who understand technology, and they efficiently listen and then decide. And the Germans think that makes a lot of sense because the judges, the ones who are deciding the case, they get it. They understand the technology. If you go to the United Kingdom, I've been there, I've watched a trial in the United Kingdom on technology. In the United Kingdom, they'll have a single judge, and the judge will take detailed notes and ask detailed questions to make sure that judge understands the technology, to make sure that she knows everything that you're doing, every aspect of the technology, before that judge makes a decision. That's how they do it in Europe and the rest of the world. They have judges who really understand technology. They know how to get to the bottom of technology, and they figure it out. In America, we do the opposite. Let's say you founded a company. You are about to have your IPO, right? Your initial public offering, where you're going to hopefully make a bunch of money, but the one thing holding you up is there's going to be this big trial in San Jose, California, or somewhere in Texas, or Delaware, or some other state in America. And that's the one thing holding you up from your initial public offering, and you're going to trial. Who do you think is going to decide your technology case? Well, you know how we could find out? A good example would be go to a shopping mall. All right, go to Valley Fair Shopping Mall, walk over to the food court, and just pick 10 random people who are buying a hot dog or getting some rice or just buying something and say, hey, come on over. We'd like you to decide the future of this person's technology company. Let's get started. Oh, and by the way, let's say the technology is something that really involves a lot of software code. And what you've done is you've really figured out a fantastic form of software code that's made your invention amazing, whatever it is. Maybe it's in the computer world, it's in the phone world, it's something. And it's just something really fascinating, really cool, okay? When you bring these random people from the mall over to decide the fate of your company, there's really only one requirement. You'd say to these people, I just want to make sure no one here understands software. Oh, no, I'm good. I don't understand it. How about you? Nope, don't understand it. How about you? Nope, no clue. Okay, good. We're good. Come on in. You can decide. That's America. Because you know what? When I'm picking a jury in a big case, if I have some case that has hundreds of millions of dollars at stake or tens of millions of dollars, or for some reason it's a really important case, and we've got the jurors, and there they are in the jury box. Let's say there's 12 or 16 people, and you're trying to pick the best jurors for your case. And let's say your case involves software code. And I'm a trial lawyer, there's another trial lawyer, and we're talking to the jurors. Tell us about your story. What do you do for a living? One juror might say, oh, I'm a construction worker. Know anything about software code? No, sorry, never seen it. Next juror, I'm in landscaping. Know anything about software code? Nope, nope, okay, good. Next juror. The next juror says, oh, well, good news, just so you know. I'm a software engineer, and I've been working in the tech industry for 22 years. And I've been working on software code and all kinds of different products and services that relate to software. And I really do think I'm going to have a very good handle on what's being presented at this jury trial here in San Jose. So I think this is going to be really fun. Does anyone want to guess what happens to that potential juror? Get out of here! You can't sit on this trial? You mean you'd follow the evidence? You'd actually understand the technology? You could go back to the jury room and figure everything out? You have no business being here. And why is that, by the way? Well, one trial lawyer might be saying, oh, this is fantastic, because I think if I can get a software engineer, I'm going to win. But the other trial lawyer will say, uh-oh, I'm worried. I think the software engineer might go the wrong way. Or they might be worried that the software engineer will just dominate the jury. Because you know what? If you get in a room with, say, 12 people or 10 people, one software engineer and a bunch of other people who know nothing, guess what they're all going to do? They're all going to listen to the software engineer. And that's not how we do it in America. We do it by consensus, and we don't try to look for a specialist. Okay, so let me give you an example of how this works. And what I'm going to talk about is the first annual Silicon Valley super cool, amazing, advanced placement high school science competition. This is fictitious, okay? This is just a hypothetical. Don't get excited. Some of you are already probably Googling it, trying to understand how you can join. No, it's not. This is just all made up, so slow down, slow down. the first annual Silicon Valley Super Cool Amazing Advanced Placement High School Science Competition. It gets a bunch of entries, really cool entries, describing all these neat science projects. And it comes down to 2 entries that are the finalists, all right? Entry number 1 is over here. And it's this really bright student who's come up with this really super cool new form of software code that the student is calling, let's just say, Guava Script. Okay, that's the new software code. Guava Script, very, very cool, goes on for page print off this. The other finalist has also come up with a just fantastic software code that we'll just call Jamba. Because I know there's simple terms for code, and there it is. So it's Guava Script versus Jamba, and what we do is we pick 3 judges to decide which of these 2 finalists get the grand prize. Here we go. Ready. Oh, by the way, let me tell you about the 3 judges. Judge number 1 is the theater director at a local high school. Has put on a lot of really wonderful theater productions, just fantastic. Doesn't know a whole lot about software. Never looked at software, never studied software, never took a class in software. That's judge number 1. Judge number 2 is an English teacher. Has been teaching English for 15 years. Beautiful writer, beautiful editor. Inspired many kids to become fantastic writers. Doesn't know a whole lot about software code. Never read it, never seen it. Doesn't even know Jamba. I mean, I hate to embarrass this teacher, but doesn't even know Jamba. So that's the second judge. The third judge is a graphic design artist at a local high school who helps kids build projects and build design elements and make super cool things that you can show people either on PowerPoint or Keynote, or sometimes like we have this cool structure right here. How do you put it together? How do you make things come to life? Again, doesn't know a lot about software. Now, when those 3 judges are trying to pick the finalist, they're thinking to themselves, well, I want to learn, what do they need? What do they crave? They need someone to simplify these science entries and explain it to them. And that's a great skill IP trial lawyers have to develop, the ability to simplify a very complex idea. So if you want to be an IP trial lawyer, number 1, learn how to simplify, and never say the following to anyone ever in your life. Never say this, honey or mom or dad or friend, I can't explain what I'm doing. I can't explain what I'm studying because, you know, it's just too complicated. You wouldn't understand. Do you know what you're saying when you say that? You're saying, I'm studying something very complicated and I haven't developed the skills to simplify, to make it easy for you to understand. I'm sorry, I don't have that skill. That's what you're saying. If you develop the skill to take something super complicated and make it really easy, you are going to be a successful IP trial lawyer. More importantly, you're going to be really successful in the tech industry. Because you know what? If you walk into a room with 37 electrical engineers, or you walk into a room with 22 computer scientists, and there's one who raised their hand and says, I can explain what's going on in this lab, I can explain what's going on with this group, and I can explain it to someone in the food court at Valley Fair Mall, that person is going to shoot above everyone else, like a rocket ship. So, instead of saying to yourself, these people over here wouldn't understand me, this person over here wouldn't understand me, you should be saying, how can I help this person understand me? And if you develop that skill, the ability to simplify, for starters, you got a good shot at winning this science competition because these judges need that. They need simplification. But what else? Well, let's talk about these 2 finalists. Finalist number 1 and finalist number 2. And the judges want to hear a little bit more about them. And this is, by the way, my graphical representation of 2 high school students, just so you know. This is finalist number 1, and this is finalist number 2. And I'm going to say right now, I did this myself. So this is me. I've developed these skills. All right, the one thing I'll say about finalist number 1, got a little bit of a big head. I'll just say it. And so finalist number 1 thinks they're kind of cool, and you kind of know that. But what else comes out in the competition when they give their presentations? They ask a few questions. They learn a little bit, and you know what they learn about finalist number 1? They learn about the orange juice incident. Did any of you hear about this? So finalist number 2 is sitting here minding their own business at the cafeteria table. Finalist number 1 comes over, takes a cup of orange juice, walks over and says, "Hey, finalist number 2, I hear you're against me in the competition next Saturday." Finalist number 2 just looks up and said, "Oh yes, I look forward to that. That should be a good competition." And right as this person's speaking, finalist number 1 dumps the orange juice in their head and says, "I'm going to bury you," and then turns around. Oh, and then comes back and says, "And I'm going to push you." And then comes back and, no, that's probably good enough. So there's a lot of bad stuff. So finalist number 1 dumps the orange juice on the head, pushes him, or pushes her. We're going to keep the gender neutral. All right, so that's the orange juice incident. And the judges hear this. They also hear that finalist number 2, God bless finalist number 2. Finalist number 2, 3 times a week, goes to the local grade school and tutors underprivileged kids from 4 to 7, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. God bless finalist number 2. It's great to see. And you know what, by the way? You think, oh, that's probably a good college essay or a good resume. No, finalist number 2 refuses to put it on any resume because it's not about that. Doesn't want to benefit at all, just wants to help these 4th graders understand math. And for the last 3 years, this finalist has been helping 4th graders get better in math. And as a result, they've increased their test scores. All right, so let's talk to the judges. You're back in the judge room. What do you guys think? Does anyone want to take a guess at where the judges are going to come down on the science competition? When you've got 2 good science projects, they're pretty close. It's hard to tell which one, but they're both good. What do you think that the theater teacher is going to do, the English teacher, the graphic design artist? We all kind of know that they're going to say, oh, what the heck? Let's give it to finalist number 2. And that's what I mean by the people element. These 3 judges understand people. They understand human behavior. And when they see bad behavior, or when they see a great reputation, they want to reward that. And in America, we want to do that. We want to have trials where it's not just about technology. It's also about behavior and reputation. So that's another point as you go forward in life, is not just learning technology, but showing good behavior. And not just showing good behavior, but developing a good and honest reputation. All of that matters. And it doesn't just matter because we all want to be good people. It also matters that if you're in some big dispute, your reputation and your behavior is going to play a big role. And that's true whether you're going to trial or whether you're at a company. If you're at a company and you're pitching an idea and you want your idea to be adapted, if you're thought of as a good person who helps others, and you're thought of someone who's not a bully but is very generous, guess whose idea will typically get adopted when it's a close call? So my point is, if you want to be successful even in the technology world, get to know people. Think about how people respond. Let me give you a fun example that just came out. Have anyone heard of the song Blurred Lines? They know about this trial? Okay. I don't know a lot about this, but there was a trial a few weeks ago where a jury awarded a singer's family $7.4 million as an award after they said that these 2 singers they thought had copied the original singer's song. And we won't get into the details. Now, I commend the singers for writing this song, because in my view, this is a sign of, moving the world in a better place. Because when I was a kid, I learned scrupulously penmanship, and I was really clean printing, really clean writing. And now they're finally sending the word that we're seeing blurred lines these days. We're seeing penmanship that's sloppy, that's messy. So I'm really happy to see that the songwriters are finally getting it, because that's important. But anyway, that's Blurred Lines. What happened, by the way? Well, the message that they said when they wrote about it, this is Law 360, is that jury verdict highlights the dangers of the human element when juries are asked to determine similarities between copyrighted musical works. The human element. And that's what I'm talking about. In America, jurors, regular people, will decide copyright infringement, even though they're not experts in music, even though they may not know the history of music or how it's put together. Now, I want to give you one story from my life in which I took a case to trial on complex technology, and we'll wrap it up. First of all, in my world, judges are gatekeepers, which means most cases are handled by judges. Most cases get thrown out by judges, or you win because of judges, or there's technical judges at the patent office or somewhere else. So most cases are judges. That's who's dealing with it. But every once in a while, there's a small group of cases that are so close that we send them to the jury trial. And that's where we're in this situation of ordinary people deciding who wins or loses. And what I'm going to do is roll through an invention, okay, that I actually took to trial for a company. All right, we represented a technology company based here in America, and it went to trial in Orange County several years ago, and the other side was asking for hundreds of millions of dollars. And by the way, I'll just tell you right now, I'm going to spoil it. We won the trial. Do you know why we won the trial? Because I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking about it if we lost. I probably wouldn't be saying, I want to tell you about this one trial I lost, unless it was a speech on growing from failure, and that's not this particular speech. That would be a different one. All right. So I'm going to tell you about a trial we happened to win. You don't win every trial, but we won this one. The invention was a magnetoresistive sensor. And there's at least one person in this audience who knows what that is, but some of you may not yet know. A magnetoresistive sensor is used in hard disk drives to read data, okay? And that's what the invention was. But let me show you what the jury was seeing. Here it is. Here's what the jury was seeing for the invention. And as I read it to you, I'm going to tell you what how a typical juror would react when you read the claim. Here we go. All right. A magnetoresistive sensor, jury reaction. I don't really know what a magnetoresistive sensor is. And by the way, do you know what jurors can do when they don't understand things? Do you know? Nothing. They just sit there because they don't get to ask questions. They're sitting there. Okay, here we go. A layer system. Oh, juror. I kind of get a layer system, right? Like a layer cake. I think we're good. That's not scary. At least one measuring layer, whatever that is, in the plane, I think I get a plane, of said measuring layer has a magnetization. I'm sorry, I don't know magnetization, haven't studied it, don't know it, which at least in one direction depends reversibly. Don't get it. How does something depend reversibly, not helping, on an applied magnetic field? I think I already told you I didn't get magnetization, but I certainly don't know applied magnetic field. And in the absence of said magnetic field, I still don't get it. Said magnetization corresponds to a predefined ground state magnetization. Look, I don't understand anything you're saying, so could you please stop? No, we're going to keep going. At least on one side of the measuring layer, a bias layer. How can a layer be biased? That doesn't even make sense. Having a magnetization in the plane of said bias layer, said magnetization being at least approximately constant in the measuring range of the magnetic field, an inner layer disposed between the bias layer and the measuring layer, by which the layer of the bias layer is at least approximately magnetically exchanged, decoupled from the measuring layer, a magnetic layer which is coupled anti-ferromagnetically. Anti-ferromagnetically? Are you kidding me? I took the SAT and I got an 800 on the writing, and I have no idea what that word means. None. You could give me 2 years, and I still wouldn't know. Let me continue. Measuring contacts at the layer system. That's a real claim. We went to trial for several weeks in Orange County. That's what jurors, who included a cook, a personal trainer, and a number of other people who know nothing about this technology. Do you know what the other side, do you know how they use as an expert? A Nobel Prize winning physicist. That's who came to talk for the other side. Now, we happened to win, but I want to show you how we won. This is how we won. We said this is the invention. We showed the layers, and we just used colors for the whole trial. And then we took another device. This is the actual device from the trial from several years ago. We took another device just like this. We held them up and we said, you know what? IBM invented the same thing, and they were first. So this isn't a good invention. And the jury found the patent invalid, and we won. And all we talked about was the red layer, the yellow layer, the blue layer. And you know what? IBM, in addition to all these layers, had a purple layer. And we told the jury, that purple layer is really cool. And we won. And if you don't know how to do this, if you can't do this when you're doing a presentation in college or at your job, or if you become a trial lawyer, you're missing out. So what's funny about this is if you wanted to be really successful in the tech industry, you know who I would talk to in college? I would make sure I took at least one theater class outside my comfort zone. You know what else I'd do? I'd make sure I take enough English courses so I can be a really good writer and communicator. And you know what else I'd do? I'd learn graphic design. I'd get into graphic design and learn how to show things. If you got outside your comfort zone and you develop those kinds of skills, watch out. You can be an IP trial lawyer, which I'm guessing pretty much none of you want to be, but some of you might want to be successful just in the tech world generally, learning how to explain things, and then learning how people decide things, and connecting with people will change the course of your career. I want to show you how a jury decides things. The technical, meaning we're going to explain it, make it really simple, and then they look at two other things, the corporate behavior and the individual behavior, and the reputation of the company or of the people. And as you go forward in life, don't forget the human element. Don't forget that the key to success, whether you want to be an IP trial lawyer or whether you just want to be successful generally in tech industry, the key to success is the human element. If you want to be a successful IP trial lawyer, or if you want to be successful generally in the tech industry, this is what you need to know. You need to know people. Thanks.